Okay, XL oil. What I want to talk about with XL oil is most everybody's familiar with the fact that we've had a 7,500 mile oil. It's been good for us. It's been a good oil. No complaint. We sell a lot of it. We sold a lot to Quick Lubes. The XL line has been purposely upgraded by AMSOIL because of the coming of the OE line. Okay? Now, those are connected because if you're going to have a 7,500 mile oil and then you come out with what we'd call a normal or OE, original equipment manufacturer's recommended drain interval synthetic, you're going to be pretty close to the same oil because a lot of manufacturers are using 7,500 mile drain intervals. So how do you differentiate our XL oil from the new OE oil? Well, AMSOIL has gone on record saying that they did an additive package boost, which means they enhance the additive package, and that gives the oil now a 10,000 mile rated drain interval. If you really take a close look at the data sheets and look at the previous XL data sheet versus the new one,
go ahead. Keep talking.
The biggest change that you would see is that, what is it doing to me now?
Doing the update automatically.
The Windows one.
I told you. You don't.
There's meteorites coming.
Watch out, John. That cord, you got it hooked up.
That's just like a child.
No, it is. I mean, you can tell the thing, no, don't bother me. I'm in the middle of doing something important. And if it's ready to upgrade or do whatever that Microsoft or whatever other main office of dictatorial powers has decided, they put it in operation. Doesn't care what you want. All right, so let's get back to something that we do have some control over, maybe. XL oil, when I reviewed the data sheet, the new one versus the old one, the significant difference that's there is an increase in the TBN. Now that verifies that the additive package has been enhanced because it shows up in the TBN. The TBN has gone up, okay? Now, the TBN of the new OE oil that comes out is just about the same as what the old XL oil was. All right? In fact, AMSOIL, you can hear me say this, looks to me like almost all of the numbers for the OE oil are almost identical to what they look like for the old XL oil. Would lead one to believe that those two products might be very closely in their formula. I won't say they're the same, there's probably some difference, but I would say the new OE, in my opinion, looks to be of about the same quality as the old XL. Okay? Now, why would I even get into that? And part of the reason is that the new OE oil is recommended for normal drains, but there is no real definition of normal drains because each manufacturer has a little bit different slant on that. So the question is, if you're going to recommend to your service center, repair shop, they get this OE oil, what are they going to tell their customer? When should they change the oil? Anybody got any ideas?
To the manufacturer regulation.
Okay, they tell them that. And the guy says, well, I don't have my owner's manual anymore. It's gone. My car is 5 years old. It's a Toyota. And so I don't know how long I'm supposed to run the oil for. Well, here's what I would tell you. Almost all of the lube places right now that you go to around the Orlando area, when they make changes of what they call a full synthetic oil, whether it's Kendall or Castrol or Valvoline, they're recommending 5,000 mile oil changes. Now, 5,000 is significantly below the 7,500 that a lot of manufacturers recommend, and it's in line with what the National Lubricating News says most people are changing their oil closer to 4,700 mile intervals than 3,000 mile intervals. So to me, if nothing else is known, I would just say with the OE oil, stick with the 5,000 mile oil change and you'll be in good shape. Now, if the person looks in their owner's manual and says, I can change my oil at 7,500 miles, then change your oil at 7,500 miles. In fact, on the AMSOIL data bulletin, it even says that if they have, like BMW, or these cars have some of the GM models that has an oil change light on it, and that light doesn't come on until 12,000 miles, then run the OE oil 12,000 miles. Okay? The reason is that the OE oil is, in general, a full service synthetic engine oil that meets the manufacturer's specifications. So if they said they have a light that's going to assume that's the kind of oil you have in the engine, and it's good to go until that light comes on, then it's good to go until that light comes on, because that's what the manufacturer of the automobile said it would do, and this oil certainly meets that standard. Now for me, if I owned a BMW and I paid $55,000 for it and it had an oil light on the dash, I'd be running 0W30. I'd be running the best oil I could, because I'd say, you know what, I didn't spend $55,000 to wear the engine out wondering whether or not the oil was going to be satisfactory. I would run the best in the market. So what was it a guy said one time that I heard, a Mercedes salesman? If you have to ask what the maintenance costs, you can't afford the car. Get a different car, get a Chevy. Okay. So anyway, OE versus XL. If you go into a service center and they ask you about this oil, you have to say that it is a standard full synthetic. Don't let them ask you if it's a blend. They say that all the time. Oh, that must be a blend. It's only good. No, it's a full synthetic engine oil made of the same synthetic base stocks of Castrol, Valvoline, or Kendall. Okay, it's a Group 3 synthetic, good oil. If you look at the numbers on it, it outperforms. I went and looked up the numbers on Kendall GT1. The OE oil outperforms Kendall, it outperforms Valvoline, and it outperforms Castrol as far as the numbers that come up for, you know, wear tests. Of course, those other oils will usually not submit themselves to the 4-ball wear test. They don't want anybody to know how that would look. So, again, on these two oils, I could bring up the data bulletin, but I don't really need to. You have one in front of you, and if you're watching this tape and you're one of my dealers out across the country somewhere, you can go right to the AMSOIL site and look at the data bulletins on this product. But the important thing to remember is that when the XL oil goes to 10,000 miles, it makes a statement from AMSOIL saying that that XL oil is an exceptionally good oil for a 10,000 mile drain interval. Many of the AMSOIL dealers around the country, and even some of the staff at AMSOIL in the past, that XL oil has been tested well before it ever had this boost put into the additive package. And most of the time it went about 12,000 miles before it showed any crack in its armor. So it's a very good oil. And it's a good intermediate oil for us, because 10,000 for some people is not a psychological cliff. They're not falling off the cliff. You say 25,000 miles and all you hear is, oh, they're going off the cliff, because it's just more than they can comprehend. So 10,000 is a pretty good number for a reasonable oil change. And remember, a number of European cars already have 10 or 12,000 mile drain intervals in Europe. That's not uncommon at all. A lot of Renaults are at 12,000 miles. But that's in Europe because the European oil specs are much tighter than American oil specs. So when you see that a Renault in Europe was set up for 12,000 mile oil change, that's probably on what they call the level 5 or the best European spec oil, which the American API rating doesn't come anywhere close to that. So you bring that Renault over to the US, start running one of our good petroleum oils and then try to go 12,000 miles, and then you get towed into the Renault dealer when the engine seizes up, because it's just night and day difference in oil. So you got to be careful doing that. So okay, the XL oil, this is, by the way, the pretty new bottle of OE oil. Packaging is good, excuse me. I don't have any objection to AMSOIL's latest packaging. They've done a good job both on the XL and the OE in making the bottles look very inviting for shelf, you know, appeal when they're sitting on the shelf. You got to admit that years ago, Russ, Michael, when we started this business, some of AMSOIL's bottles, Tony, they were a little bit, you know, plain. The old plain white bottle with the poor label on that would hardly stay on. So these have really, really improved. Okay, so let me just summarize by saying this about the two oils, and then I'll move on to something else. The XL oil was purposefully enhanced to set it aside from the new OE oil coming out. And AMSOIL did a good job doing that. The XL oil is better than it was. You can tell that in the numbers. It will certainly go the 10,000 miles, and that's a good number to have in your hip pocket when it comes to an oil. Now, the new OE oil is direct competition by AMSOIL with normal drain engine oils. It is as good, if not better, quite frankly, than any of the Group 3 type oils out there, which includes Castrol, Valvoline, Kendall. Those are all made from Group 3 base stocks. We would have to really do some evaluation to say that these Group 3 base stocks are as good as Mobil 1. Mobil 1 is made from the same type of chemical base stock as the AMSOIL original oils, so I put those oils in a little tier higher class if it's me, and AMSOIL will probably send me a nasty note for promoting Mobil, but when you're looking at these oils across the board out there in the marketplace, Mobil and AMSOIL original oils stand up in a class of their own. Now, AMSOIL enhances even these Group 3 oils by using more of a robust additive package than they have to accomplish the mission they're doing. So you get the quality of what AMSOIL does with additive packages even in that Group 3 base stock, which is in these oils. So I think looking at the OE oil, and I'm anxious to see dealers start to do some oil analysis and see how it turns out, but I think it's a product that is a higher quality than the standard oils that are on the market, and that we should be able to sell it on quality because it's going to be priced in a range which makes it competitive. And for the consumer, they can look at the oil and say, yes, this is a less expensive oil by AMSOIL, but it carries the quality control that AMSOIL does with everything else. It's a high quality product, and they're giving it to us at a pretty good price. So that's it for XL and OE.